Hi, I'm Mark Emanuel, Director of Field Operations for Evaporcool. In this video, I'll go over the basics of how to properly install an Evaporcool system. This video is intended for contractors and installers. The tools you will need to install include a cordless drill with stepper bit, electrical tape and Teflon tape, insulation, zip ties, sheet metal screws, an adjustable wrench, tin snips, 22 gauge stainless wire or equivalent, and shears. First, let's discuss the components of an Evaporcool system. A complete Evaporcool system consists of magnet-mounted easy frames, valve boxes, and controller boxes, along with a water treatment system and pump if needed. When your Evaporcool system is packaged and shipped, Evaporcool engineering includes an Evaporcool system layout diagram, which indicates exactly which easy frame, valve box, and controller box is to be located. The easy frames, built with UV-resistant PVC plastic, are the largest components of the Evaporcool system. On the front side, there is a pre-filter screen designed to trap large airborne contaminants, followed by the sprayers, an absorbent medium to permit cooling of the airstream, and on the back side, strong magnets used for mounting. The valve boxes have a removable lid, an inlet and outlet for the water supply, and an electrical connection to power the solenoid inside with the ability to parallel additional valve boxes. The controller's, master or client, contains the brain of the Evaporcool system. It has a hinged lid and numerous sensor connections that assist the controller determine when to spray water and how much water to spray. The controller board contains the 3G cell network transmitter and adjustable settings that can be configured to maximize energy savings and minimize water usage. Before installation, the installer must inventory all Evaporcool supplied components to ensure completeness of the order. Some components may be shipped separately. After unpacking and checking the individual components on site, the installer should fully read the Evaporcool installation guide and familiarize himself or herself with the steps required. Also, the installer should carefully review the Evaporcool system layout diagram and visualize the finished installation, trying to identify any possible issues like clearance distances before they become a problem. Next, find the location for the Evaporcool controller box as indicated in the Evaporcool system layout diagram. Make sure the location identified has enough surface area for the magnets of the controller box to attach to, and that the box is easy to access. Place the box on the outdoor unit with the connections facing down. Remember, when working on outdoor units, safety is paramount. Ensure no electrical equipment that you will be servicing is connected, and follow all appropriate lockout, tagout procedures. Once you have verified the electricity to the outdoor unit is disconnected, you can remove the hail guards and clean the condenser coils. Follow the instructions of the unit's manufacturer for proper coil cleaning techniques. Now, open the control cabinet of the outdoor unit. Take the 24-volt transformer shipped with your system and securely mount it using field-supplied sheet metal screws in an area that won't cause interference with any operating equipment in the cabinet. Locate an area within 6 inches of the transformer to mount the included DIN rail using field-supplied sheet metal screws. Snap the fuse block into place on the DIN rail. Using the wiring diagram included with the fuse kit, identify the color of the primary wire that matches the main unit voltage. Connect the appropriate transformer primary lead to one of the openings on the bottom of the fuse block and connect the black common wire to the other opening on the bottom of the fuse block. Using the included wire nuts, cap off any unused primary transformer wire leads. To complete the power connection to the transformer, connect one end of the included 16-gauge wire to the line side of either the main contactor or compressor in the unit. Care must be taken during this step to ensure the transformer is connected to the side of the contactor that is always hot. The controller needs a constant source of power. Connecting it to the load side will result in a non-functional installation. Connect the other ends of the wires to the top terminal connections of the fuse block, ensuring that the hot and common wires are connected to the appropriate terminal. Again, follow the included wire diagram. To complete the power connection to the controller, take the black and white 16-3 cables and wire nut the bare leads to the yellow and yellow-white secondary wires from the transformer. Wire nut the yellow transformer wire to the white wire of the 16-3 bundle, and wire nut the yellow-white transformer wire to the black wire of the 16-3 bundle. Terminate the green wire on the cabinet backplate, which serves as the chassis ground. The included fuses are intended for 460 and 480 volt protection, and if other voltages are used, you will need to supply your own fuses. Ensure the fuses are installed with the dimpled end down into the fuse block. Fully close the fuse block and check all connections by lightly tugging on each wire connection to ensure they are secure. You will likely need to drill a hole to run the controller power cables to the controller box. If that is necessary, ensure the use of a grommet to prevent the wires from being damaged as they are pulled through to the outside of the unit. The controller box Heiko connector makes field wiring easy to connect. Run the power wires into one of the open cable grips on the controller box and crimp the light colors to the 3 wires on the power switch inside the box. In order to prevent the possibility of a ground potential difference in the 24-volt system, you need to ensure that all Evaporcool electrical items share the same ground as is used in the main control cabinet of the unit being installed upon. To ensure this is the case, a green ground cable must be run from the cabinet ground or main panel ground to the Evaporcool 24-volt transformer. From there, the ground cable will continue to be run to the controller with the controller power cables. Next, each individual circuit of the controller must have a ground cable run with the power cables to all the valve boxes on each circuit. The ground cable for each circuit will be terminated in the controller using the ground cable from the transformer to the controller. Ultimately, that will give a complete 24-volt circuit with a common ground tied to the unit's ground. At this time, the internal connections to the unit are complete. Electronic panels can be replaced on the unit and the power reapplied to the unit. The next steps involve attaching the monitoring sensors to the controller. A wiring diagram is included inside a plastic pouch on the controller lid. It is important to properly follow that wiring diagram in detail. I'll go over the basic steps for you here. First, clamp a circuit transducer to a phased leg of power as indicated in your customized Evaporcool system layout diagram. Connect the leads through the cable grip on the controller box, then attach to the controller board. If necessary, drill a hole through a cabinet panel to run the transducer wire, and ensure the use of a grommet to prevent the wires from being damaged as they are pulled through to the outside of the unit. Next, attach the liquid line temperature sensor using zip ties to an available section of liquid line inside the unit. Ensure as much surface area of the sensor as possible is in direct contact with the line, fasten securely, wrap with insulation, and then tape until sealed. Connect the bare leads through a cable grip on the controller box and attach to the board. After that, attach the weather sensor package using the included magnetic mount on a side of the unit that will not receive direct sunlight. Most often, a northern-facing side works best. At this time, the water pressure transducer also needs to be installed. You will need a 1/4 inch NFPT connection to the incoming water line in order to install the transducer. Connect the sensor leads through a cable grip on the controller box and attach to the board. Then, you must install the condenser air intake sensor. This sensor is mounted behind the Evaporcool evaporating medium. The valve box layout diagram will indicate the optimal location for this sensor. Care must be taken so that the sensor freely hangs in the air and doesn't come in contact with the condenser coil. Most often, the sensor is attached to a taut 22-gauge stainless steel wire. Connect the sensor leads through a cable grip on the controller box and attach to the board. Now, it's on to installing and connecting the valve boxes. Two types of valve boxes are used: junction boxes and termination boxes. The included Evaporcool system layout diagram will describe the plumbing routing of the water supply and typical locations for the valve boxes. The valve boxes are mounted using magnets, most frequently on top of the condenser unit. The valve boxes are numbered and must be connected according to the Evaporcool system layout diagram. The Evaporcool system layout diagram will also describe how to wire the boxes. The valve box HACO connector makes field wiring easy to connect. Connect the valve box power leads through a cable grip on the controller box and attach to the board. In order for the Evaporcool system to save the most energy for your customer, all air flowing past the condenser coils must pass through an easy frame. Before you complete the plumbing and install the Evaporcool easy frames, you must identify locations for field-supplied sheet metal close-offs to ensure this airflow occurs. It is ultimately up to the installer to identify where and how much sheet metal to install, if any at all. The layout diagram should give enough information for the installer, but Evaporcool Engineering can provide assistance if there are any specific questions about where to place sheet metal. Evaporcool recommends galvanized steel of sufficient gauge thickness as close-off material. Sometimes sheet metal is not used, and other specified material like rubber skirts can be substituted. Evaporcool can make recommendations based on your particular install. After the close-off material has been installed, it's now time for the easy frames to be attached to the unit. Each frame is numbered on the top left corner on the back of the frame at the factory and identified on the Evaporcool system layout diagram. The Evaporcool system layout diagram must be followed for proper installation. Although not anticipated, in the event a frame magnet hits an obstruction on the condenser unit like a screw head, remove the magnet from the frame and reattach it to a location free from the obstruction. A completely sealed, flat installation is necessary for proper airflow through the easy frames. The installer is responsible for ensuring that this is the case. Once all frames are secured to the unit and any gaps behind the frames properly covered or closed off, the included flexible tubing can be measured and cut to length. Evaporcool provides the tubing, and making the connections does not require any tooling. Simply ensure a square cut and firmly press the tubing into the fitting. Tug to ensure a tight connection and use caution not to have too tight of a bending radius along any segment of tubing. Secure tubing to the unit with the included magnetic tubing straps. To release the piping, press the collar in on the fitting and pull the piping. Note that you need to leave the last connection open along with the tape on the frame tubing connection in place in preparation for system startup. Those are the steps necessary for a successful installation of an Evaporcool system. More details are in the custom-engineered Evaporcool system layout diagram and in our printed installation manual that come included with your order. In the next video, I'll go over how to properly start up the Evaporcool system to ensure your customer sees maximum energy savings during peak cooling demand. For more information about Evaporcool, visit us online at www.evaporcool.com or email contactus@evaporcool.com. Thanks for watching.